Welcome back, everybody, to another podcast episode here at fullthrottlehouston.com. Today, I'm joined by a special guest, Mr. Drew Harris.
What's going on?
Drew Harris, what's up, man? If you guys don't know this guy yet, make sure you guys check out all his social media handles. They're going to be linked right down below in the comments and also in the description. Drew, so you're a customer of ours, and this is our first opportunity. We actually got to have a customer on our podcast. So tell us what bike you bought and what your experience has been so far with us.
Yeah, man. So it was really a impulse buy. I've ridden motorcycles since I was like 8 years old, and then I've had a street bike in 17, and it was a Victory Octane, but it never really did it for me. And I was going through a pretty tough time, and I knew I needed a bike. I got rid of my dirt bike 3 years ago, so I just Google, the closest and best looking dealership I could find, and that happened to be you guys. And I got lucky because I came in and your guys' staff pointed me between two different bikes, and I ended up choosing the 600, which I was like, man, I might regret this. I should go with 1,000, try to be a tough guy, get a leader bike and everything. But I went with the 600, and I've not been disappointed yet. And you guys steered me in the perfect direction. I love that. That ZX6R is amazing.
Yeah. What's your favorite feature about that bike?
Man, the quick shift is awesome. I've never experienced that before. You don't have to use the clutch. I'm still getting used to it. It's hard not to break that habit and still use the clutch, but that's pretty cool. And obviously, the traction control and stuff. But, man, I don't know. Like I say, I'm not super well versed in the street bikes, so I just overall, it's a really great bike. The look of it's amazing too. But
Man, I want to back it up a little bit to your story about motorcycles. I've been selling motorcycles for a long time now. I think I'm going on almost 10 years selling bikes. When you first told me that you grew up riding dirt bikes, I was like, okay, another guy that says he grew up riding dirt bikes, right? And I'm just like, and then when you pulled out your phone and you showed me, you were like, yeah, I do motocross, MX, but I also do freestyle motocross. And I said, what? Let me see. You pulled out your phone.
Expecting some no-handers.
Yeah, no-hander, Superman seat grab, like all kinds of stuff. I was like, wow, you actually ride bikes. Like, you understand the bike on a whole nother level, right? I think it's just like with street stunt bike riders. They have taken the craft to another level, right? There's a different level of, I'm going to get out and ride today. I'm going to get out and I'm going to go push myself because it's something that no one ever thinks they can even do, right? It's I always reference certain movies, and I think the good one is Troy, where the kid is like, hey, I don't know how you guys are out there being gladiators and doing this. He's like, well, that's why nobody will remember your name.
That's so great. Yep, right? Exactly.
And I think that's the same thing. I think about that in motorsports, whether it's cars, bikes, it's at the track. Whenever I meet those high-level athletes that are in their craft, I'm like, man, tell me your story. Tell me the journey, because it's such a different one. What inspired you to actually do the freestyle motocross in the first place?
Man, so I think I've been just driven towards extreme sports since I was a real young age. Real young. It was started on rollerblades and setting up wood on the electric boxes in the subdivision and jumping those, and then it went to BMX and everything. And I just always wanted to go faster and jump higher and everything. So I was 13 and I got a 98 KX 125 and went, and I loved that thing and had a broken ankle within several months, and then just kept continuing and going. But yeah, just. Like you say, you think you can never do it. I was in that point. That was just always my dream, to be in a fairground, jumping in front of people doing tricks. Like, that was always my dream. And so I just always slowly worked up bigger and bigger jumps. And it started, with little no-handers, no footers. And then it was no-footed can-cans. And then it was heel clickers. And then it just kept escalating. And, I never got, obviously, top-level pro. I never flipped or anything, never went to a foam pit or nothing like that. But still, I did a few cool things. But.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, we talked about the joy of bringing to an audience, right?
Yeah.
We were talking a little bit earlier about how when you're on the street bike now, and guys, we are also joined by Mr. Groot down here. He's our special guest director today. He's running an Insta360 X4 for us today, so good job, Mr. Groot. But tell me a little bit about why you carry that guy on your backpack.
Yeah, so like you said, if you ever see somebody there's a Groot in the backpack, feel free to give me a honk and a smile and a wave, and that'd be awesome. But yeah, just a little bit of it for a niche, it's my thing so people can recognize me, but also, kids enjoy Groot and everything. So to make them more comfortable, I'm obviously an all black biker on a street bike. It could be a little bit intimidating to kids, but they look and they wave. I love it. And I give them a rev, or if I'm at a gas station, I'll let them come over and twist the throttle. But it's so cool just to see that smile and brighten people's day like that. So
Right, right. I know when I heard you on the sales floor yesterday, you were talking about how you wanted to do the oil pump modification on your bike because you want to do wheelies and do long-term wheelies. What's your approach of MX versus the street? One is a little bit. People would say that the dirt is more forgiving. I would really argue that because man, you get taken control of, and you're just along for the ride, right? So,
for sure.
What's your thoughts on now challenging yourself with doing some wheelies for kids and doing some things like that? What is your game plan for that?
Yeah. I really try to keep it as street legal as possible. We'll say, but at the same time, every now and then try to give someone a little bit of a show. But yeah, I was asking him just to check that airbox because I know that modification is available, but I'm not standing them up and riding them for long distance of time or anything like that. So yeah, just a little bit of play. But yeah, when you talk about the consequence, it's different. There's higher consequence with dirt bikes in certain areas, but there's higher consequence with street bikes as well. Not to mention also to add in the legal consequence that's there with that as well. So there's a lot of them to take into account with it. But I've got a long laundry list of injuries from dirt bikes. But at the same time, at higher speeds and on concrete and stuff like that, it could be game over real quick. So I think that's one thing that I've learned riding dirt bikes and pushing to that limit of my absolute skill is learning that and knowing when to back it down and when not to push it and everything. So I feel like I've got a real good handle on, keeping it within that zone of safety.
Situational awareness is so important.
Exactly. Yep.
I think especially I'm from California, so I grew up riding the white line. I grew up with motorists loving the fact that there's one less car on the road for traffic congestion.
Right.
And they're like, okay, hey man, we'll split and divide for you. Like when you go to California and you ride there and you're not used to that and you're like riding in traffic and you're like, wait a minute, why are all these cars moving away from me? Right. And that's because they're trying to give you that open entry point to go in. So I wish Texas, if you guys can adopt that, it'd be awesome. I really would look forward to us being able to ride the white line out here as well.
Yeah.
So you do more stuff than just motorcycles and bikes. Tell me a little bit about your passion with the animal shelters here, rescuing. I know we touched a little bit about on that earlier today. Go ahead and let us know about what you're actually doing in the field.
Yeah, man. So I got started in it because I lost my Great Dane that I had him for 9 years, and that, was pretty tough on me, and I didn't want to commit to getting a new dog and commit to that, inevitable loss again. So I figured, I still love dogs. I love being around them and everything. So I went to the shelter to, see what volunteering was like and then go in there and help those dogs and everything. And that was really cool going in and walking them and stuff. But then in January, we had the volunteer meeting, and there's a group called Wild Tunes that a little boy named Yuvi created, and he goes in and he plays keyboard for the animals, and I play guitar too, so now I can go in and play acoustic guitar for the animals, and that the smooth melodies like that, there's studies that show that it drops the cortisol levels, their stress levels, and it can actually make their stay there a little bit calmer and more enjoyable. So that's been amazing with that too. And it's really helped me spread awareness. And that's the big thing too. I wasn't fully aware of the shelter issue, how many dogs are there, and, people like their full bred dogs and everything and everything, but that's cool. But there's so many dogs in those shelters that will not make it out of there. I actually ended up fostering a little girl because she was going to be put down that same day. And then I foster failure. And now she's a full-time, she's my little girl now. So I've adopted her. But yeah, there's a lot of dogs in there that could use a good home, and they'd be an amazing forever friend.
Yeah. Sweet.
So that's been amazing. But yeah, I've played guitar too since I was like 13 also, and to be able to incorporate that with it. And I've never played for anybody, live. So I have some stuff posted on my TikTok now, and then going to the shelter and playing. That's been really cool. Just trying to get out there more and share my skills and talent. But
awesome. So when we come back into motorcycles, right? You're like you said you're like a first time kind of rider coming back after the Victory Octane.
Yeah.
Come back to a sport bike. What's some advice you would give some new riders out there? What to pay attention to? I know that you have mirrors on your bike, and we talked about that yesterday. So give me some words of wisdom that you could share with some guys that are trying to do what you're doing. Maybe if they're trying to be a content creator too at the same time. What are some things they need to be aware of?
Yeah, man. So safety is huge, first of all. you know, my big thing too is if there's anybody out riding, I'll go ride next to anybody. I'm not a super social person, but if there's someone's out there, I'll go hang out with them for a little bit and cruise along. And that's a bike of any size, 125. If you're riding a 50 out there on the street, that's cool. If it's got a motor and 2 wheels, I'm into it. Like, that's awesome.
Right.
But the one thing that I don't like is when a new rider comes in and they need a Busa, you know what I mean? Or they need 1,000 cc. That's not cool, man. Like, you need to figure that out. That'll get you in trouble super quick. So yeah, if you're a new rider, start on those lower CCs for sure. Watch the roads too. I mean, road conditions. There's a big crack in the road. I was just riding the 610 loop the other day, and there's a long section that has a real wide crack in it, and that'll pull your tires. So be careful. Stay out of those. And if you do have to cross them, cross them quick. Get across. Don't slowly, or it'll grab your tires. Get across those cracks quickly. But with the mirrors, like we were talking about, always looking everywhere all at once. Always have awareness, 360 degrees for a mile ahead and a mile behind what's going on around you. So check your mirrors. And then also don't fully rely on the mirrors. Every time you change a lane, look over the shoulder and make sure that there's nobody there, because, driving around here in Houston, I'm sure you've seen it. You can check the mirrors and then 2 seconds later, there's somebody right there in your blind spot. So that's definitely some things I'd recommend. But, for content creation and everything, really, you don't have to do anything special. It looks cool being out there on a bike, so don't try and push it and do nothing super dangerous. Just you can just cruise around, do some fun little weaves and everything, and it'll come out cool. Put some music behind it, nice little message, and I think that's some good way to start.
Okay. And now, what cameras do you use on your bike currently right now?
So I just actually got the X4. I had the Insta360, the X3 previously, and then, they're great. They're amazing cameras. So these are a game changer for sure. I used to use a GoPro for dirt bikes, and that was all just where you were looking at was your point of view. But with these, they record everything everywhere all at once. So then you go into editing, and you can look around, and you can actually catch things you might have missed while you were riding. You can see people looking at you behind you, and this camera is a game changer for sure.
Now, I've heard from the past that when this 360 cameras first came out, you had to have the right computer, you'd have the right technology, but now you could just do all that from your phone.
Dude, all of my content that's on my TikTok has been created 100% on the phone, and that blows my mind, even, like, to think that you can do all that stuff and you just download. I use CapCut for editing everything on the phone, and you just transfer the files straight from that to the phone and then put them into CapCut and edit them up.
Very cool. Very cool.
Awesome.
So, guys, don't be afraid to start generating content. If you are in love with motorcycles like we are here at fullthrottlehouston.com, we really want to make sure that you guys continue to capture those great moments, because there's nothing that a picture you can ever take away. As we get older and as we age, unfortunately, we stay right. We want to make sure that we can remember those great moments. And now with technology, we have a camera, video cameras, everything at our fingertips and disposals. Man, Drew, I really appreciate you coming out and having this conversation with us. Again, you're our very first guest on our podcast episode.
It's a pleasure.
I really appreciate you being here.
Thanks for having me, man. This has been a good time. It's great to meet all you guys, and I look forward to seeing the production. This is my first ever podcast, so that's going to be cool.
Okay. So, guys, again, thank you for participating and watching with us here at fullthrottlehouston.com on our second episode here at Full Throttle. Talk to you soon. Bryce out.